Hello, boys and ghouls. It's your old friend Starbuck back with some treats. It's the third week of our 8 weeks of Halloween, and in this episode I'm starting you off with a little quiet please. This episode aired on August 9th of 1948, and it's called The Thing on the Forward Board. It's an episode in which an oil rig worker discovers an invisible creature of unknown origins living deep beneath the earth. What happens to this man is horrific, and the ending is absolutely brilliant. If you're alone, turn the lights down low and listen. It will help you get into a Halloween mood. So quiet, please. For quiet, please.
The Mutual Broadcasting System presents Quiet Please, which is written and directed by Willis Cooper and which features Ernest Chappell. Quiet Please for tonight is called The Thing on the Purple Board.
Me, I'm a roughneck. Well, I was a roughneck, 20 years ago. A little too old, too slow now. Besides, I got $1 now. I don't have to be a roughneck, you see. Married, got a nice home. Had to meet my wife. Hey, Mike. Her name's Maxine, but she likes to be called Mike. Mike! I guess she's busy out in the kitchen someplace. Besides, she doesn't hear very well. Shame, too. She's so pretty and everything. Well, you'll meet her. Sit down. I was saying I was a roughneck. Well, no, that doesn't mean exactly what you think it means. A roughneck is an oil field worker, specifically a guy in a drilling crew. Call them roughnecks like you call a section hand on the railroad a gandy dancer, a garage hand a grease monkey. Same time you work around a drilling crew for a while, you're going to be a roughneck in every sense of the word, boy. A derrick floor or a four-bolt board's no place for a guy with a bow tie. Because when you have to fool around with drilling holes that go farther down the ground than it is from the top of Pike's Peak down to sea level... Yeah, sure they do. The time I was a roughneck, we'd got this one well down to 7,313 feet. That was a record. But last May, Pure Oil brought one in out in the Natrona Valley in Wyoming at 14,309 feet. That, friend, is almost 3 miles. Quite a hole, that, huh? Sure, I don't think there's an oil man in the world that don't wonder one time or another what's down there, besides rock and oil and gas. Oil that's made out of trees that died 20 million years ago. Oil that's made out of dinosaur bones. Oil that's maybe made out of the flesh and blood of men, maybe, that beat each other to death with a stone axe, ate saber-toothed tiger for lunch. Yeah, you get to wondering. You look at the cores that come up from way down there, and sometimes the little shells, trilobites mostly, that was alive when Manhattan Island, where New York is, was under half a mile of ice. We found something once, me and Billy Grunwald, and something found us. I'll tell you about it. We were down to around 5,400 feet. We'd set casing. We began to get water, so we had to stop drilling and cement off. Well, you see, when water begins to seep in the hole, you pull your drill pipe, then you let down a cementing shoe inside the casing, and you plug up the bottom of the hole, casing and all, with quick hardening waterproof cement. Then when it's hard, you drill through the cement, go on down, and the cement outside the casing at the bottom keeps the water out. Well, we had the drill pipe all pulled and racked. The cement was setting, see, so we was shut down, waiting for it to harden. We'd been coring just before... Well, you see, a core drill is hollow, and as the bit digs down, it stuffs the drillings up inside it, so when you pull it out, you got a sample of the kind of stuff you're going through. And a geologist can tell a lot from that. So there's nobody around the rig except me that night. The rest of the crew's going into town. I was toasting some pork chops over the forge for my supper. I heard a car pulling up. Look out, it's Billy Grunwald, the geologist, and I give him a hello. Hi, Billy. Come and have a pork chop.
Hi, Porky. Where's everybody?
They all went to town. I'm the whole crew.
I had 3 blowouts between here and Oxnard.
Yeah, I wondered where you was. Ted said you'd be in here about 3.
Yeah, I would have been, except for my tough luck. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, hungry?
Starved.
Yeah, I got 7 pork chops. And bread. And some coffee, kind of.
Swell. Hey, I got a bottle in the car.
We're going to have a banquet.
Hey, where's that core? That's what I came up here to look at.
Yeah, back there on the bench. Look at it after supper.
Hey,
What?
didn't you say you were all alone here?
Uh-huh.
I thought I heard somebody talking.
I don't see anybody. Keep an eye on that pork chop. You won't have any supper.
Yeah, I'm watching it.
Here, let me put the coffee on. Like so.
When'd you finish cementing?
This morning, last tower only made about 10 feet of holes, so Ted shut down before we get flooded out of house and home.
Funny about that water.
How?
Oughtn't to be any at that level, according to my figuring.
Well, there is.
Is it salt?
Sure, right out of the bottom of the ocean.
That's funny. Well, maybe I'll be able to tell something from the core. Yeah, I hope so. The last core I looked at, I'd have sworn we were getting into shale.
Ain't seen none yet from the cuttings.
That's funny.
Here, your pork chop's done. Yeah, take some bread.
Yeah, thanks. Oh, man.
Good, huh? Yeah, put on another. I had 2 already before you come.
Yeah, much obliged. Yeah, you never can tell what's down there. You get it all mapped and plotted out, all the strata. And all you know is what comes out of the hole.
Yeah, I'd like to go down there sometime if I was little enough.
Never get you down a hole.
Yeah, you'd fit. You're skinny.
I'll stay up here and look at the cores, Bud. Where is that one?
Behind you. Over there.
Oh. Well, I'll have a look at it.
Well, why don't you wait till you finish your supper?
I'm just going to look at it. Put on another pork chop for me.
Okay.
Well, I wish those screech owls would keep...
What's the matter?
Hey, wait a minute, Porky.
Well, what...
Listen.
What's eating you?
You know, I'd have sworn there's somebody up there on that formal board.
Ah, you're crazy. There's nobody up there.
Leaning against those stands of drill pipe.
Ah, they're just rack crooked. One of them slipped. Come on back and eat your pork chop.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess so. Only I...
Ah, what you so jittery about, Billy? Come on, eat your sandwich. Here.
Yeah, well, thanks, Porky. I don't know. I'm just naturally that way, I guess. I'm always scared of the dark.
I'm scared.
Doggone it, I hate to be a baby, but I can't help it.
Scared of the dark? Honest?
Stupid, ain't it?
Oh, I don't know. Everybody's scared of something. Me. Spiders scare the tar out of me. Black widows. Oh. I know how you feel, Billy.
There another light over here?
Yeah. Here.
Ah. Oh. That's better. Hey, listen, Porky. Go out to the car and look in the left-hand door pocket and bring back that bottle, will you? That's what I need.
Okay, kid. Okay. So I picked up a flashlight. I turned around and went outside. I found the car. And I got the bottle. And the floor of the derrick was all lit up, and when I saw a beam of light suddenly flash up toward the forward board, I laughed. Billy Grunwald and his ideas. Sure, I looked up. There wasn't a darn thing up there, except the drill pipe racked against the fingerboard. Oh, this, forward board. Well, you've seen oil derricks, or pictures of them. Do you know that little platform that runs around the outside of the derrick about halfway up? Well, that's the forward board. Well, you see, drill pipe comes in lengths, and you handle them with several lengths screwed together so as to save time getting them in and out of the hole. 2 lengths is a double, 3 is a triple, 4 is a forward. When you pull a pipe, you heist it up inside the derrick with a traveling block, which moves up and down from the crown block at the top of the derrick. Then when a forward of pipe is pulled out, it's held in the rotary table. You break the joint with tongs, like a great big Stilton wrench, you see. Snub a cable that's fastened to the handle over the cathead on the drawworks, and that breaks the joint. Then you hold the tongs on the pipe, give the rotary table a few turns to unscrew it. You heist away with the traveling block and swing it over against the fingerboard, lean it against the derrick. The guy up on the forward takes off the traveling block. You do it all over again till you got all the pipe out, you see? Well, there wasn't anybody up on the forward except a screech owl, and it flew away. So Billy turned his light off, and I come on inside. And just as I come up the steps, he let out a yell.
Yay!
What's the matter? What's the matter, Billy?
Hey, come here. Look here.
Well, what's it?
Look, Porky.
My... Where did you find that?
Now, listen, Porky, I give you my word. That was embedded in the core.
Why, it couldn't be.
I tell you it was. Look where I dug it out. Hey, you know what? That rock there comes from a mile underground. And it's been a mile underground for 1,000,000 years. And look at this.
And I did look. And what he was holding was a gold ring. And it was all carved and filigreed just like jewelry. And there wasn't any kidding about it. It was real. No, wait a minute. Hang on, I ain't done. I poked at the core of rock that looked like a kind of petrified salami or something. And then it was my turn to pretty near jump out of my pants. Because right alongside the place where Billy dug out the ring, there was a mud-covered, but very unmistakable finger. I picked it up, and it was cold, and it was heavy, and it was solid rock. At least it felt like solid rock. And I looked at Billy, and Billy looked at me. He started to rub the mud off this here stone finger. And as he rubbed it, it begun to disappear. No, he could still feel it, he said, but when the mud was gone, neither one of us could see it. And he dropped it to the derrick floor. It went clunk, and we couldn't find it any place. So you know what we done? Well, we took that bottle and we took and finished it, Billy and me. We finished it in one slug apiece, and it was a full pint of bathtub gin. It tasted just like so much well water to me. And then we sat down on the derrick floor and we looked at each other. We didn't say a word. My eyes got heavier and heavier. The last thing I remember was I heard some kind of noise that seemed to be coming up from down the forward 80 feet above us. I shut my eyes a minute. I guess I went to sleep. And I had awful dreams. Black widow, spiders crawling all over me with gold rings on their legs. Things I could hear, but I couldn't see, up on the forward. Billy Grunwald climbing up the ladder outside the derrick in the moonlight. Faces looking at me, and I couldn't figure out who they were. Then I was waked up by a horrible scream. A crash alongside me that shook the whole derrick. I opened my eyes to see Billy Grunwald lying on the floor 2 feet away with a broken neck. With a broken neck and his left hand, well, he put the gold ring on the little finger of his left hand, and the way his arms were spread out, his left little finger and the ring were gone. Well, friend, I got out of there. I run down to where Billy had left his car, and I got in. I stepped on the starter. And I couldn't get it to go, and then I remembered after I pretty near run down the battery that Billy had taken a key. I wasn't going up there and go through a dead man's clothes to get it. So I sat there in the car and shivered all by myself till daylight. And then Ted and the crew came. Afterwards, a state cop, and everybody in the world was asking me questions.
Did you and Billy have a fight, Porky?
I told you we didn't, Ted.
But you had been drinking.
We only had that little pint, Ted.
Well, what was he doing up on the floorboard?
Did you threaten him, and did he run up there to get away from you?
Listen, cop, don't be a chump. Billy Grunwald and I were good friends.
Then why'd you push him off the forward?
I didn't, I tell you. I wasn't up there.
Oh, what did he go up there for?
I don't know. I was asleep.
How do you know he was up there?
I didn't say he was. You said so. Besides, how would he break his neck if he didn't fall from way up there?
Well, look, officer. I think it was just another accident. I mean, we haven't got anything on Porky, and personally, I don't believe he did it.
Well, it's mighty mysterious.
So it is. But we got work to do. Now, how about it? That cement's hard down there. I want to start drilling again, and I'm short-handed. Will you let Porky stay here till I run in my pipe again, and, well, then you can take him and ask him questions till you're blue in the face.
Well,
Okay. Let's get rolling. You got steam up, Happy?
I'm all set.
All right. Porky, you go from the forward board.
What? Not me, Ted.
Oh, don't be such a boob. There's nobody up there to shove you overboard. And you can put a safety line around you if you want to. And besides, you're getting paid to do what you're told. I've lost too much time already. Come on, get going.
So, okay, I go up on the forward board. And you can bet I took a good gander around before I did anything else. No, I couldn't see a thing. So I signaled to the driller to let down the traveling block, and he did. Came sailing down from up above. I was just reaching for it to pick up the first four-bullet drill pipe. Gave a big jerk, and the cable broke. It dropped and nearly pulled me off the four-bullet board. And it landed right on top of Ted. And if you have any idea what a guy looks like after 2 tons of metal land on him from 80 feet up, yeah, you keep your ideas to yourself. Well, that was enough. 2 accidents in a row. The whole crew quit. They wasn't going to wait for a third. And it was Ted's money that was paying off. There wasn't any more, and as far as I know, the abandoned derrick is still there. And that was 20 years ago. Oh, I forgot to tell you something. That traveling block was right in front of my face when it broke loose. It was hanging by steel cable, 3/4-inch steel cable. And I saw that cable break right before my eyes. Looked just like a piece of string when you snap it between your fingers. I could almost see the fingers. You know what? There was something up there on the forward board with me. And so a couple of days later I came back. I don't know if there's anything in the world as desolate, as dismal, as dead-looking as an abandoned oil well rig. There it stands like a skeleton off on a deserted side road and the bare yellow hills surrounding it, and it's the deadest thing you ever saw. I sat in my car for a long time looking at it. Everything was just the way we'd left it. I looked into the floor. The smashed traveling block was there alongside the rotary table. There was a little mutter of steam from the boiler. That was all. Then I heard a tinkle of something as it hit the ground alongside me. I looked around. There wasn't a soul in sight. But at my feet was the gold ring that Billy Grunwald and I had found in the core of rock that came from a mile underground and from 1,000,000 years ago in time. And I heard a little sound. The sound of a kid crying. And there wasn't any kid up there. And I heard it again, and it came from above my head, and I took out my revolver. I loaded it carefully. I started up the ladder to the forward board. Well, there wasn't anything up there, nothing I could see. But there was a voice crying. The voice of a little kid. And then there was a movement behind the rack of drill pipes, and I saw the pipe move, and I yelled, "Come out of there, whoever you are! Come out or I'll start shooting!" And the stand of pipe shivered, and I thought, what can it be that can handle that heavy pipe like jack straws? And then there was a crash. The whole stand of pipe fell over, and I just got out of the way in time. And I was alone on the forward board with the thing. But I couldn't see it. I felt the platform tremble under my feet again as something moved toward me. I fired 2 or 3 shots. And nothing happened. I started backwards. I knew it was following me because I could hear it meowing like a cat. My feet tripped over something. I saw it was a big can of red lead that somebody had left up there. Without thinking, I picked it up and I threw it at the sound, and it splashed. And there it was. And I wish the face of a little girl, frightened, crying with hunger and terror. Hands like a human being, and a finger missing from the left hand. And a body. Well, I'll tell you about that. I told you how I'm scared of spiders. But I knew where it came from. It had come from the bowels of the earth, come riding up on the drill pipe as we yanked it out of the well. Come to an alien world, and was lost. It stood there dripping with red paint, blood red from head to foot like some horrible dream. And it put its hand on my arm. Its hand was stone. Living, moving stone. And it looked into my eyes and mewed like a lost kitten. 20 years ago, I discovered many things about it, what it used for food, that it was deaf, that it was invisible and couldn't see people when it was invisible, that if you sprayed it with mud or paint or grease paint, makeup, then it could see people. And believe me, I didn't want to see its body. I can see that in my nightmares. But its face, I can't help wanting to see that pathetic little girl face. I'm afraid maybe I've fallen. But it's very beautiful. And when it's well made up, it's... But making it up, rubbing grease paint on a stone face that looks at you and smiles, and it makes sounds like a lost kitten yet. I can disguise the body in long dresses. She can't hear very well, and when she's hungry, I have to stay out of her way. I found out what she likes to eat, remember? No, sit still. Sit still, do. Sit still or I'll have to shoot you. I want you to meet my wife. Or rather, my wife wants to meet you. Mike. Mike. There she is. Come on in, dear.
The title of tonight's Quiet Please story is The Thing on the Furble Board. It was written and directed by Willis Cooper and featured Ernest Chappell.
And Dan Sutter played Billy Grunwald. Pat O'Malley was Ted. And Cecil Roy was also a member of the cast. As usual, music for Quiet Please is played by Albert Berman. Sound by our good friend Albert April. Now, for a word about next week, here is our writer-director, Willis Cooper.
Well, I'm reasonably sure that all the characters in tonight's stories were completely fictional. At least I, for one, hope so. Next week, the story is called Presto Changeo, I'm sure.
And so, until next week at the same time, I am quietly yours, Ernest Chappell.
This program was heard in Canada through the facilities of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.
And we're back, kiddos. That was Quiet Please. Coming up next, I have Bela Lugosi's Mystery House. This episode aired on July 3rd, 1944. In it, a man insanely jealous of his wife, believing she's been unfaithful, devises a fiendish method of dealing with her and her lover. This episode stars Bela Lugosi, John Carradine, and Lorraine Tuttle. So sit back and enjoy, kiddos. More of our 8 weeks of Halloween on Antiquity Radio.
This is Bela Lugosi, welcoming you to Mystery House.
Mystery House, starring Bela Lugosi. Mystery House, where live again the stories of the greatest mystery theater the world has ever known, the Grand Guignol of Paris. Mystery House, where tonight the distinguished actor John Carradine joins Bela Lugosi in presenting The Thirsty Death. Good evening, folks. This is Ken Carpenter. If I sound a little nervous, it's not really my fault. I'm usually a pretty steady guy, calm as anyone, but, well, this is asking too much. Bela Lugosi alone is enough to scare you. John Carradine isn't exactly soothing to your nerves, but put them together in a story set in darkest Africa with mad dogs howling in the background and, well, find out for yourself. The curtain rises on The Thirsty Death, starring Bela Lugosi and his guest at Mystery House, John Carradine. You hear those native drums? You know what they're saying? Eve Plazante does. That is why her heart is pounding to the mounting cadence of those ceaseless drums. That's why she's hurrying faster, hurrying through the North African forest in the oppressive heat of this humid afternoon. And that is why Mollard, her native houseboy, follows unwillingly, his eyes rolling fearfully in their wide sockets.
Mollard, faster. Walk faster.
Missus, please, better we go by.
Don't talk such nonsense.
But, Missus, thirsty death walks. All around us is thirsty death. You hear, Missus? Do you hear?
Oh, stop gibbering like a frightened child.
No.
Anyway, we've gone too far to turn back now.
No.
We're almost halfway to the village.
No, better we go back. Better we... Oh, go back.
Mollard, don't leave me here alone. Mollard! Let me in. Open the door and let me in.
Eve, it is you.
Renee.
I couldn't believe my own ears. Come in.
Oh, I had no idea this was your house, Renee. I knew you lived somewhere near here, but...
What happened?
I was on my way to the village when Mollard, my houseboy, became frightened and ran away. There was a mad dog somewhere near.
Well, so I have something to thank the epidemic for, after all. Who would have thought back in Paris that we should meet again like this?
Oh, Renee, please.
Yes, forgive me. I was so taken away at seeing you. Sit down. Let me pour you some water.
Oh, thank you.
Here, drink. Not so fast, Eve. You'll make yourself ill.
More, please.
Well, it'll all be all right, I suppose.
I never knew before what thirst could mean.
And imagine those poor devils out there, hundreds of them who have hydrophobia. Eve, whatever induced you to set foot outside your door?
Oh, it was foolhardy of me, I know. My husband had to leave for the coast to be gone at least a week. And the prospect of being shut in all alone, except for my terrified houseboy.
Yes, the natives are in a dreadful panic. My own houseboy, Gildas, ran off and deserted me yesterday. But you say you were on your way to the village.
Well, perhaps you know the Chabours. I was going to stay with them until Francois, my husband, returned.
Eve, are you happy with him?
Him? You mean my husband? Of course we're happy. Very happy.
Then why, when I first learned who the new doctor and his wife were, did you send back word by Gildas that I would not be welcome in your home? Because you were afraid that seeing me might rekindle our love? Wasn't that it?
No, Renee. It's because Francois is such a jealous husband.
Middle-aged men with beautiful young wives usually are.
Well, I'm rested now. I must be on my way to the village if I'm to make it by nightfall.
But you can't go out there again.
I must. Oh. Renee, you loved me once.
I love you still.
Then go with me. Take me to the village.
Very well. But you're still tired. Rest a bit longer, and then we'll stop.
Strange, isn't it, Renee?
Strange and wonderful. And doesn't it prove something to you, Eve? When you sent me away back there in Paris, because your parents wished you to marry this Dr. Presents, I chose the farthest, most inaccessible, most uncivilized spot I could think of.
Yet here I am, too.
Eve.
With my husband.
Does he know that you were once in love with another? With me?
With another, yes. I'm not sure. Oh. Those dogs.
You said one spine a tingling. But I'll have my gun, of course.
Hydrophobia turned him into such a snarling, howling, frothing beast that they had to smother him between two mattresses.
Oh, it's a ghastly disease. Yet there are fools, criminal fools, who refuse to obey the order that all dogs be killed. I didn't hesitate to kill all 4 of my pets. Eve, why do you suddenly look at me like that?
Oh, nothing.
There's a dog in your home, isn't there?
Yes.
But that's sheer folly.
Francois refuses to do away with him. That's another reason why I couldn't bear to remain home. I was afraid.
What manner of man is this husband of yours?
He says he needs the dog for experiments. Please, Rene, we mustn't delay any longer. It gets dark so suddenly out here.
Very well. I'll get my gun.
Rene.
What's the matter?
Somebody's outside.
Probably Gildas, that poor houseboy of mine, coming back at last.
No, it...
Eve, who was it you said you saw just through the windows? Why do you?
My husband.
Your husband? Well, what you said.
He mustn't find me here, Rene. He's so insanely jealous, he'll think... He mustn't find me here.
Wait, go upstairs. There's a bedroom.
All right.
Who's there? Oh, good evening.
Good evening, monsieur. I'm Dr. Presents.
Oh, new doctor. Well, won't you come in?
Thank you.
I am René Bremont.
Yes, I've heard of you. I think that back in Paris we had a mutual friend.
You must be mistaken, my dear doctor. I am from Marseille.
So, you are an obliging host.
To your health, Dr. Passant.
And yours, Monsieur Bremont. Splendid liqueur. I must say, a comfortable place you have here.
Thank you, Doctor.
This, I presume, is your living room.
It's a very small place.
Just the kind of place that would appeal to my wife. We're thinking of building next year, and if you don't mind, I like to take a look at the bedroom.
No. That is, I'd rather you didn't.
Oh. The bedroom is occupied, perhaps?
Of course not. I'm here all alone.
Then?
Well, Doctor, I might as well confess.
Yes?
Gildas, my houseboy, deserted me yesterday. Well, the bedroom is in a frightful mess. I must ask you to wait until some other time to see it.
As you wish.
And now, Doctor, at the risk of seeming a rude host, I must remind you that it will soon be dark.
You think I should be on my way?
After all, Dr. Passant, you of all people should be aware of the menace that lurks in the forest. There's still mad dogs loose, and after dark...
Oh, yes. Those mad dogs. And me completely out of serum.
Out of serum? Good heavens. Can't you get some more?
The whole district has run out. I intended leaving for the coast today to get a supply, but...
Yes?
But something very significant came to my attention. So I sent someone else.
Doctor, it's such a long trip. Why, this means that for at least a week, every case of hydrophobia in this district must necessarily be fatal.
Yes, monsieur. And what ghastly cases we had. Death so horrible that even I, who have seen so much of death, was utterly revolted.
And yet you are so rash as to keep a dog in your own house.
What's that, monsieur? What's that? You know I have a dog? Then she told you.
She? I don't know who you mean.
Who told you?
Gildas, my houseboy, Gildas. You know how these natives chatter. He heard it from your houseboy.
A most unusual servant, that Gildas. First leaves your bedroom a frightful mess so that I can't see it. And now he tells you about a dog.
Dr. Passant, you must do away with the dog. It's too dangerous. Why, just think if your wife...
Your solicitude for my wife's safety touches me deeply, Monsieur Bremont. Too bad she couldn't be along with me on this visit.
Yes, it is.
But perhaps we shall all three be together quite soon. Goodbye, monsieur.
Goodbye, Doctor. Yeah. Eve, you can come down now.
Oh, Rene. Oh, I was so frightened. I can hardly stand.
You're pale as a ghost. Here, sit down.
I thought he'd never go. When he asked to see the bedroom...
Eve, he knew you were here.
You think so?
His very manner in asking to see the bedroom. And his reaction when I forgot myself and spoke of the dog.
Yes. I tried to tell myself otherwise, but I know it's true. Didn't he even speak of a mutual friend in Paris? He meant me.
Of course.
He knows we were once sweethearts. And now, the way things happen...
Don't, Eve, don't. I can't bear to see you like this. What if he does know? You've done no wrong. God knows you've been a faithful wife.
But I told you how jealous Francois is. He'll never believe the truth, never.
What kind of a devil is he? That you should cower and cringe before him.
Oh, you don't know what he's capable of.
Then why don't you divorce him? You don't love him, you never have.
He'd never consent to a divorce. He's told me so.
Then leave him anyway. Eve, darling, come away with me. Come away to the other end of the earth. I'll make you happy, I swear I will. Everything we once hoped and dreamed together.
Oh, Rene, don't, please. You're only making me feel worse. As long as I'm his wife, I couldn't.
Yes. I suppose I knew that.
Look, night is closed in already. We've got...
Eve, what's the matter? If I hadn't caught you then, you'd have fallen.
Oh, it's just nerves. I'll be all right. We've got to start for the village at once, Rene.
But you're in no condition to ever make it, Eve. Do you realize how far it is?
Yes, but
Those mad dogs prowling in the blackness of the forest?
But I can't stay here.
Why not? You can have the bedroom upstairs. I'll sleep down here on the couch.
Do you think he'd ever believe that?
Listen, I have an idea. Why didn't I think of it before? Some friends of mine, an elderly couple, have a place down by the river. I'll take you there at dawn. They'll say you were here. You were there all the time.
You really think they will?
Positive. And Eve, we were probably wrong about your husband knowing you were here. We just imagined things. Everything's going to turn out all right.
Rene!
What is it? What's the matter?
Oh, Rene. Oh, I had such a terrible nightmare. I woke up screaming.
Poor thing. Why, you're actually trembling.
What time is it?
Well, as a matter of fact, we'd have had to get up soon anyway. It's just about dawn.
Well, then, if you don't mind, I'll go back downstairs with you. I hate to be alone.
Sure thing. I'll start right in fixing breakfast.
I had a restless night, too.
Wouldn't be a bit surprised if I was going to have another bout of malaria.
My head's spinning, and I ache all over.
Sit down. I like the lamp.
Just too. It's eerie blackness.
Here's a match.
Oh, there. The light from the lamp makes me feel better already. I can almost laugh at my horrible dream now.
Was it about the dogs?
Yes, about the little dog Nero that my husband refused to kill. I dreamed that right before my eyes, the dog changed into the shadowy figure of a man.
No wonder you woke up screaming.
But that was only the beginning of the dream. It seemed to me that I woke up there in the bedroom upstairs, and the shadowy figure was leaning over me. I was so paralyzed with fright I couldn't move.
And then what happened?
And then I heard this thing go out of my room and close the door. Then it seemed to me that I lay there in eternity, trying to scream but unable to utter sound. Finally, I found my voice.
Eve.
Rene, you do look ill. I hadn't noticed before how...
Eve, I had a strange dream, too. I also dreamed that a shadowy figure was moving about in here.
No.
Then I dreamed the figure went out and barred the doors and windows from the outside.
Rene, look. The windows are barred.
Yes.
Quick. The door, test it.
Well, we must still be dreaming. It can't be. It's true. The door is locked and barred from the outside. Whoever you are there, open the door.
We've got to get out of here. We've got to get out of here.
Well, I hope you're not frightened yet, because this isn't anything. Wait till you hear Bela Lugosi and John Carradine in the second act of The Thirsty Death. And wait till you hear those howling dogs. We left Yves Plaisant and Rene Bremont beating senselessly on the barred door. The barred door which keeps them prisoners there in the Subremons' lodge, remote in the North African forest. As we return to them now in the ghostly dawn, they are still hammering their fists on the door in a fit of panic, still shouting hopelessly for help.
Stop, Eve! Stop! Stop it, Eve! We're behaving like panicky children. We've got to be calm. We've got to think this thing through like rational human beings.
Calm, Rene. Rational?
Yes, of course. We wake up and find the door and windows barred from the outside. Now, was that any reason to give way to terror?
Shadowy figure, Rene. He must have had a purpose. A ghastly purpose.
Nonsense. He only existed in your imagination. And I dare say you transplanted him to mine. For all we know, Gildas may have done this just as a joke.
You don't really believe that, Rene.
Certainly I do. Or if it wasn't Gildas, maybe it was some native with a twisted sense of humor.
Oh, Rene, we've got to get out of here.
Naturally, and it shouldn't be very difficult if we use our heads. Now, then, let's see. Why, of course. I have a hatchet over here in the drawer.
Oh, Rene.
Gone.
Rene, he took it. Whoever locked us in took it.
Now, don't get hysterical again. I can always fire my revolver, and maybe it might help that way.
Oh, then hurry.
See, the cartridges are over here in the other drawer. No.
Cartridges. They're gone, too.
Yes, they're gone, too.
Rene, the door. Somebody's there.
It's opening. Dr. Present.
Ah, good morning, Monsieur Bremont. And Eve, my dear wife. Aren't you happy to see your devoted husband again?
You locked us in, didn't you?
Yes, it was you.
Stand where you are, monsieur. I shall feel impelled to use my gun.
Dr. Present, what sort of comedy do you think you're playing?
A romantic one, but only as a supporting player. I'm sure you'll be the first to admit that.
Oh, no, Francois. It isn't true what you're thinking.
We can explain everything if you'll only give us a chance.
Yes, I'm sure it would be a most ingenious alibi.
You blind, stupid, jealous fool. I demand that you let us out of here at once.
Let you out? Oh, no. I couldn't do that. It would be criminal.
Criminal?
Decidedly. You are dangerous.
What riddles are you speaking now?
Not riddles. Facts.
Oh, he's gone mad. Completely mad.
No, my dear wife. I'm not mad, but unfortunately, it will soon be impossible to say the same about one of you.
What?
Which one? Me?
Perhaps. And then again, perhaps it is she. Who knows?
What are you talking about?
Tell us what you have to say and be done with it.
Very well, Monsieur Bremont. Remember telling me that I ought to have killed my little dog.
What about it?
I have been forced to follow your advice, monsieur. You see, the dog had become rabid.
Oh.
But what has that to do with us?
Patience. Patience. What will interest you particularly is that last night, after I killed the poor dog, I filled my hypodermic needle with its saliva.
With its saliva?
Yes, its saliva, brimming with hydrophobia. And then I came back here. Came back all the way through the forest. I came back with my hypodermic needle.
And it was really you. You that I saw leaning over my bed.
And then you injected the needle into me. You monster! You infected us both.
No, not both. Just one of you. Don't you remember my saying?
Oh, which one?
Which one did you infect?
Was it me?
Or me, in the name of heaven, man?
Very soon you'll find out. For very soon, the one who is infected will begin to feel symptoms. You're quite unmistakable, I assure you. First, just a general feeling of sickness, steadily growing worse.
And I'm the one. I woke up feeling ill.
And what about me? I thought it was malaria.
Next will come that awful crucifying thirst. And then the final stage, the transformation into a snarling, frothing, howling beast that will bite and tear and stand back, Bremont, or I shoot.
Dr. Present, by all that is holy, I swear that we are innocent.
Oh, yes, Francois, yes.
Have you no mercy?
I have only advice. There in the drawer, where you failed to find the hatchet, I left a knife.
A knife?
Oh, it's not sharp enough or strong enough to tear open the door or window bars. However, when the mad person attacks the healthy one, the knife will prove useful. Goodbye.
If we only knew which one of us it was.
Not me. He wouldn't have done it to me. He wants me. He wouldn't destroy me. It's you, Rennie. He did it to you.
You're just saying that, Eve. You know in your heart it isn't true. Suspicion has turned his love for you into inhuman hatred. You're the one he'd want to destroy, not me. It's you he's infected. You.
First, just a general feeling of sickness, steadily growing worse.
General feeling of sickness. Steadily growing worse. what he said.
What's that you're saying, Eve?
Rene, there's no longer any doubt about it. It was me that he infected.
No. It was me. Just as he said, the symptoms are unmistakable. Why should I lie to myself or you any longer? I'm the victim.
You're sure, Rene? You're positive?
Good to God that I weren't. General feeling of sickness.
Next will come that awful crucifying thirst. That awful crucifying thirst.
Rene, where's the water?
Empty.
No!
That devil! He must have poured out all the water.
Poured out all the water. And I'm so thirsty. So horribly, terribly thirsty.
You are? Eve, you are? Then you must be the one.
Water. Water, get me water. Got to have water.
Then, the final stage. The transformation into snarling, frothing, growling beast that will...
Why do you stand there looking at me, Rene? Water. I've got to have water.
There's nothing I can do, Eve. Nothing.
You've got to do something.
There in the drawer where you failed to find the hatchet, I left a knife. When the mad person attacks the healthy one, the knife will prove useful.
Rene! What are you doing at that drawer?
Why,
Put down that knife, Rene! Put it away. Put it away, do you hear?
Eve, stay away from me. I warn you.
He's going to kill
Don't
me.
come a step closer.
Kill
If
me
you
with
do,
the
I'll
knife.
have to use this knife.
Come on, get
We're
the
locked in
knife.
here together, Eve, and there's nothing I can do but use this knife.
Help! Help!
Doctor, see, I come back.
Yes, my lad. You come back.
Missus, where is she?
I think she is. The home was Monsieur Bremont, where you took her.
Monsieur Bremont? No, doctor. Molly not take Mrs. anywhere. Molly get scared of dogs. Run away and leave Mrs. all alone in forest. Come back now to say very sorry.
Don't lie to me. You took her to Monsieur Bremont yesterday. Just as you had probably taken her many times before.
No.
Tell me, my lord,
No.
how much did she pay you for keeping her secret?
Secret? What secret you talk about?
Don't taunt me about it. You lied, devil.
Oh,
It won't do any good. I found her with Monsieur Bremont.
who this Monsieur Bremont? Molly not know.
If you say that once more, I'll flog you.
Huh?
The game is up. I caught her with her lover and...
Molly not know what you talk. Yesterday, Mrs. say go with her to village. On way, dog come. Molly run. Leave Mrs. behind. Now, come back to say very sorry.
A very clever story,
Oh,
Mother.
yeah.
And who knows?
Yeah.
I might have been fool enough to believe it, if not for this.
Oh, you get letter.
Yes, a letter. Last night, while visiting Monsieur Bremont's lodge, I found it in a drawer hidden under a box of cartridges. It's in her own handwriting.
Doctor, what letter say?
I couldn't bear to read what my wife wrote to her lover. I haven't read it. But I will now. I'll read it now.
Mrs. very good to Molly. Very good to Molly. Doctor, what is it? Why you...
Rene, everything that once was between us is forgotten and must forever remain that way. Please, I beg you, never come to see me. And if ever we chance to meet, remember, I am Madame Pleasant and not the girl who... Oh, dear God. What have I done?
Doctor, where you go?
Quick, Barrett, come. Maybe there is yet time.
Let me out, for God's sake. Let me out of here.
Yes. Quick, Barrett. Help me get the door open.
Oh, Mrs.
Dead. How did you expect to find her? So, you killed her.
Yes. I killed her. I was only your instrument. You gave her that monstrous disease.
Eve, Eve, look at her now. Your wife. Your beautiful young wife. You and your hypodermic needle. You made her into a frothing, howling, biting... Listen to me. It's true that the blood is on my soul. She was not a victim of hydrophobia. What? All that about that hypodermic needle. I made it up. Neither you nor my wife was touched.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was The Thirsty Death, starring Bela Lugosi and John Carradine with Lorene Tuttle.
What's the matter, Ken? We didn't frighten you, did we?
Well, I'm afraid you did, Bela. That was pretty scary.
Oh, that was nothing.
Nothing?
No. Wait till you hear next week's story. The Grand Guignol play about a woman who was buried alive. And my guest will be the beautiful and charming Simone Simon. Hope you and your audience will join me next week at Mystery House.
Bela Lugosi is currently being starred in a series of Mystery House pictures at Universal Studios. You'll find Mystery House novels on sale at your local bookstore. John Carradine will soon be seen in the title role of Bluebeard. This is Ken Carpenter.
Welcome back, boys and ghouls. Thanks so much for staying around with me here on Antiquity Radio's 8 Weeks of Halloween. How did you like that tale? I felt like I liked the couple in the first show better. But coming up next, I have The Witch's Tale. This episode is called The Hairy Monster, and it aired on September 26, 1932. This radio series, usually airing at midnight, proved popular enough that a magazine with the slightly altered title of The Witch's Tales saw its first issue with the November 1936 issue. Unfortunately, due to magazine publishing inexperience and lack of cross-media advertising, there was no ads for the radio show in the magazine and vice versa. The magazine folded with a second issue dated December 1936. This episode is called The Hairy Monster, and I hope you will enjoy the episode while I pet my hairy monster.
Tale, written and produced by Alonzo Dean Cole. And now let us join old Nancy, witch of Salem, and Satan, her wise black cat.
Hannah, 10-year-old I be today. Yes, sir. Hannah, 10-year-old. Satan. A lot of folks have been writing us letters asking how old Nancy, got to be such a nice ripe age? You said it, Satan. The hull answer to that question is that we knows magic charm. I wears a iron ring to keep away rheumatics. There's always an onion hanging over my door to drive off chills and fevers. And round my neck, I wears a potent talisman made during the increase of the moon, which protects me from all accidents. A body who takes care of her health with powerful spells like them is bound to reach 118 years, like I just turned today. That's right, Satan. Another reason for me living so long is that I never tells a lie, which proves there's no truth in the saying that the good dies young. Well, we got another cheerful little bedtime story for you now. If you'll just turn out them lights and make it nice and dark. That's it. Now, draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into them deep, and soon you'll see 4 people at the door of a fine big house. Soon you'll learn about the hairy monster. That's our tale for tonight. The hairy monster.
Here we are. Now, just a moment till I find the light switch.
Hurry, Mr. Weeks.
Gosh, yes.
We're terrible excited.
I have it. Now, look at the inside of your new home.
Oh.
Gee whiz.
Barbara.
Like it?
Oh, it's heavenly.
A regular mansion.
Perfectly scrumptious.
And it's all yours, Miss Turner, house, grounds, and furnishings. That is, if you'll carry out the conditions of Mrs. Hawker's will and live here continuously for 1 year, beginning tonight.
If she'll live here. Ha! Try and get you away, eh, perhaps?
Sure, I'd say so. After you and Aunt Maggie and I have had to live in 2 rooms and a kitchenette all our lives. Oh, doesn't it just seem as though we're dreaming? My. I can hardly believe it.
It's true, all right.
Look, Bad. Mr. Weeks has even had a telephone put in for us.
I've had the place set in order as though I was moving in myself. Doesn't look like a house that's been closed and tenantless for 5 years,
Well,
does it?
it's just perfect. Everything. Absolutely scrumptious.
I'm going to get our baggage from the car, so I'll have nothing to do but explore. I'm going over the place from cellar to attic.
Rodney, don't forget to bring in my hat box and umbrella.
I won't, Aunt Maggie.
Aunt Maggie, just look at these gorgeous window curtains. Real lace. My. But the kitchen is what I want to see. That's my special bailiwick, Mr. Weeks. Where is it?
You'll find it at the end of this hall, Miss Carpenter.
Excuse me. I've got to have a look at the kitchen before I do another thing.
Oh, we're all so terribly excited, Mr. Weeks. And we'll never forget that our good fortune is entirely due to you.
Oh, nonsense. I'm only acting as any attorney would to serve his client's interests.
But other attorneys kept this place away from us for 5 whole years.
Well, they had no legal grounds for their action, as the courts have finally decided. The terms of Mrs. Hawker's will were specific and clear, in spite of certain rather strange provisions. Your sister, Helen, was named as sole heir. And in the event of her demise, it was provided that the estate should pass to her nearest female kin, which happened to be you. At your sister's untimely death, the executors should have placed you in immediate possession.
Now, to continue in possession, I simply have to fulfill the terms originally imposed upon my sister.
That's all. You reside in this house for a period of 1 year, during which time you will sleep in the master bedroom upstairs, which was formerly occupied by Mrs. Hawker. You are not to pass so much as a single night away from here, and you must spend at least 3 hours in that bedroom from every midnight to sunrise alone.
Funny condition, isn't it?
But a very simple one.
Very. If poor Helen hadn't been killed in that auto accident the day of Mrs. Hawker's funeral, she would have found it as easy to fulfill as I shall. Now she's dead. And I have this wonderful house.
Your sister must have been a very sweet and lovable character. Mrs. Hawker had known her scarcely 2 weeks when she executed that will in her favor.
Wasn't it extraordinary? Helen was only her paid companion, a trained nurse like myself.
Strange, the workings of fate. Now you, whom Mrs. Hawker never even met,
become her heir.
What sort of woman was Mrs. Hawker? Helen used to write that she was very peculiar.
Well, that's proven by the queer conditions of her will.
But despite her eccentricity, Helen wrote that she was a highly intelligent old person who spent most of her time in scientific research.
I've heard that, but I hardly think that her studies were very scientific. You'll find some mighty queer stuff in the library she left. Works on magic, alchemy, and such outlandish things as that.
Is that what she studied?
They're the only books in the place with English titles. I don't know what the volumes treat of that are written in Chinese.
Chinese?
Yes, you've inherited quite a collection of Oriental literature. Mrs. Hawker spent most of her life in Tibet. As the wife of a missionary, I believe, and that's all I or anyone else in this town really knows about her. But she made no friends or confidants. From the time she came here 15 years ago and built this house, she rarely left it. In fact, she scarcely ever left that room upstairs, which you'll occupy in accordance with her will.
She must have been very eccentric. That provision isn't the only strange one in her will.
You don't have to worry about the others. The executors had seen to their fulfillment.
I know. But why?
Hey, help me, someone.
God!
I'll unload you.
All right, there. Much obliged. I wanted to get all this luggage in at once, so I'll have nothing to do but look over our new residence. And besides, it's Mr. Weeks' car we had cluttered up with this stuff, and he may want to drive it home sometime tonight.
Say, it's nearly midnight. I must be running along now.
Oh, it was awfully good of you to meet us at the train and bring us out here.
I wanted to enjoy your first excitement over the place.
Oh, Barbara, the kitchen is simply scrumptious. There's copper pots and pans, real silverware, china dishes. Rodney, did you bring in my big hat box and umbrella?
Here they are, Aunt Maggie.
Oh, thank goodness.
Well, I'll run along. Guess you'll find things comfortable enough until you can make your own arrangements.
Everything's wonderful, thanks to you.
You've been a real friend, Mr. Weeks.
It's all been a pleasure for me. Good night.
I'll take you to the door.
We'll all take you.
My stars, the moon has come out.
Isn't it nice? It was dark as pitch when we drove up here.
Mr. Weeks, what's that little white building back there? Our garage?
No, son, that's Mrs. Hawker's tomb.
Oh, the mausoleum you told me she had built.
Yes.
That's the one thing I ain't going to like about this place. That tomb.
Well, we'll have to get used to it. One of the provisions in her will is that it is never to be removed.
That's right. Well, I must be going. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Weeks.
Good night, sir.
Good night.
And thanks 1,000 times.
Oh, that's all right. Good luck to you all.
Let's get back in, Babs. I'm just crazy to explore the place.
Oh, so am I. And I can hardly realize it's really ours.
I don't like that grave in the backyard.
Aunt Maggie, you knew that tomb was there before we came.
I didn't know it was so near the house. It ain't right for the dead and living to be so close to one another.
Oh, how silly. Come inside and stop gazing at it.
All right. Shut that door, Rodney, and lock it tight.
You ain't afraid Mrs. Hawker will get lonesome out there and try to pay us a visit?
If she wanted to, locks and bolts wouldn't stop her. Ghosts can get in anywhere.
Oh, Aunt Maggie, don't be so ridiculous. Here, Rod, let's take this luggage up to our bedrooms before we do anything else.
You two keep away from them bedrooms till I look them over.
What for?
What for? Ain't I been keeping house for you two orphans almost all your life? I'm going up and see the beds are made up proper with clean sheets and all.
All right, Aunt Maggie. Arrange things to suit yourself. But I must sleep in the east wing room, you know.
I ain't forgetting. Here, I'll take my big hat box and umbrella. You can bring the rest of that truck up later.
Okay, Aunt Maggie. She would insist on going up there to fix things just as if we were a couple of kids.
Have you found the bedroom lights, Aunt Maggie?
Yes, Barbara.
This here east room of yours is scrumped. I knew it would be. Oh, Rodney, isn't it wonderful to know all this belongs to us, that we're going to live in this house?
You've got to live here for a year.
As though that could be anything but pleasure. Oh, tonight, I'm just the happiest girl in the world.
What was that?
Aunt Maggie.
Come upstairs. Something is wrong.
Aunt Maggie.
Aunt Maggie.
She doesn't answer.
Well, the lights have gone out up here.
We're in the dark. Aunt Maggie, where are you?
Give me your hand. The east room this way. We'll find her there.
Oh, why doesn't she answer us? What made her scream? Oh,
the lights have gone on again.
There she is, in that room.
On the floor.
Aunt Maggie. Well, Aunt Maggie, speak to me.
She doesn't move. She's fainted.
Look at her eyes, Rod.
They're staring at the ceiling, just like she was scared of something. What?
I don't know. She's not breathing. Her heart isn't beating. Rod! She's dead.
You still insist, Doc, that this woman was frightened to death?
I do, Lieutenant. Until an autopsy shows me some chronic organic weakness that isn't apparent now, I'll say she died of paralysis of the heart muscles brought about by shock. The expression of her face and eyes indicate that shock was caused by sheer, stark terror.
But what could have frightened her? There was nothing here to do it.
You two entered this room almost immediately after she screamed?
Yes, and the room was just like you see it now.
Well, she couldn't have been frightened by anything seen through these windows. Shutters are closed, shades drawn. You're positive every door and window in this house is locked on the inside, Ryan?
Yes, sir. Absolutely positive.
Yet you found no one hiding in the place.
No, sir. We've searched every corner.
You're sure neither of you touched anything after you found your aunt?
No, sir. Not even the front door, which was locked until you got here.
We just phoned for you, police, and then sat down until you came.
If that woman died of fright, then she must have been scared by her own imagination.
Oh, that's impossible. She wasn't that kind.
It's the only explanation that is possible, miss. When the coroner here first gave us his theory of her death, I suspected a tramp or burglar had surprised her. But we've proved that no one has gotten in or out of the place and that nobody's here now except ourselves.
Someone must have turned those lights on.
Yeah, and turned them on again.
No, that was caused by defective wiring, maybe. I'll have the electric company look into that just to check. This is a coroner's case, not a police matter, boys. Come on, let's go.
Lieutenant, sir.
Yes, Ryan?
You mind putting me on duty inside this house for a couple of days, maybe?
What for? The case is closed.
I kind of got a notion that it ain't.
What do you mean?
I've just kind of got a notion.
Another of your crazy notions, eh? I've got his idea, boys. Detective Ryan is an authority on spooks. There's an explanation for us. A ghost could frighten a woman to death, and they wouldn't be stopped by locked windows or doors.
I ain't suspecting a ghost of being in this house tonight, sir. For I've just found something that no ghost would leave behind.
What have you found?
This, sir. It was snagged on back of that chair.
Hair.
2 hairs. 2 white human hairs.
Anyone might have shed a few hairs here at any time.
But these are most unusual hairs, sir. Look. I'm 6 feet tall, and these hairs are longer than I am.
Well, that's just the beginning of this purty story, Satan. You folks come see me next time I has a birthday, and I'll let you know what sort of critter them 6-foot hairs belong to.
We bring you The Witch's Tale, written and produced by Alonzo Dean Cole. And now let us join old Nancy and Satan, her wise black cat.
Hannah am 12-year-old I be today. Yes, sir. Hannah am 12-year-old. And now, if everybody just douse out their lights, we'll spin the finish of that purty yarn we begun the last time you was here. Why'd we leave off, Satan? Oh, yes. We told how that nice young girl named Barbara Turner inherited a fine big mansion that had originally been left her sister by a strange old woman named Mrs. Hawker, who'd made a lot of funny provisions in her will. Then the house stood empty for 5 years, for the lawyers let Barbara have it. So when she come to take possession with her young brother and her aunt, she was mighty happy. Until she found her aunt lying in a room upstairs, stone dead. The police doctor said she'd been frightened to death. And then a young detective found 2 human hairs beside her. 2 white human hairs that was over 6 feet long. Now draw up to the fire and gaze into the embers. Gaze into them deep and hear the rest of our yarn about the hairy monster. The hairy monster. Ha 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 ha.
It's almost 1 o'clock, Mr. Ryan. How much longer are we going to sit here in the dark?
A little before 12, you heard your aunt scream in this room last night.
Yes.
I kind of had a notion history might repeat itself, but it begins to look like I was wrong. You're all in, aren't you, Miss Turner?
Of course she's all in. She hasn't had a wink of sleep.
Oh, that doesn't matter, Rod, if there's anything to be gained by watching here.
Well, I'd kind of like to sit it out a while longer, if you don't mind.
You still think those hairs you found had something to do with Aunt Maggie's death?
Well, I kind of got a notion.
But what could have hair like that, nearly 6 feet long?
I don't know, son.
You say the autopsy this afternoon strengthened the coroner's conviction my aunt was frightened to death.
Yes, sir.
But you are positive no human being could have gotten in here. Mr. Ryan, do you believe in ghosts, as the lieutenant said last night?
Well, I keep a sort of open mind, miss. You know, folks are apt to say things ain't so just 'cause those things haven't been a part of their personal experience. I've got a kind of notion strange things happen in this world that can't be explained away by simply saying they couldn't happen.
You're Irish, aren't you, Mr. Ryan?
Well, Ryan ain't exactly a Polish name. You mean maybe I come by my funny beliefs natural.
Belief in the supernatural is common to all races. Only the Irish seem to have a deeper insight into mysteries, and, well, only the Scotch can compete with them when it comes to having notions.
Yes, and my mother was Scotch.
Is that so? I'm Scotch-Irish, too.
Well.
You know, I kind of had a notion. Yes, sir. The moment I looked at you, I said to myself, now there's too nice a girl to be anything.
Say, if
but
anything's going to happen in this room, when is it going to begin?
Just wait a little longer, son. Yes, sir, Miss Turner. You're the type of girl who... Say, you're not engaged or going with anyone steady, are you?
You know, according to Mrs. Hawker's will, my sister has to stay in this room at least 3 hours every night alone.
Oh, I don't care anything about that, Rod. After what's happened, I hate this house.
Funny conditions in that will you, Mrs. Hawkers, you told me about. Awful funny. Come on, son. Let you and me leave your sister alone in here.
Not if you think anything may happen.
It won't. That was just a bum notion. Here, now switch on these lights. Now leave them burning the rest of the night, miss. I think you'll sleep better.
I'd rather you and Rod would stay here with me, Mr. Rod. I'm not afraid, but I'm too upset to sleep.
No, I'm not. I'm tired, and I'm going to bed. Come on, son.
If my sister don't want to be left here alone,
She'll like it
don't
when she
have
gets
to.
used to it. Come on.
Hey, let go of my arms. What do you
Come
mean by
on.
that? Don't do that.
Mr. Ryan.
Good night.
Say, are you crazy?
Shut up.
I will not. You can't so...
I want to keep my hand over your mouth so you nod your head. You'll keep your face closed. You keep quiet? All right.
What's the idea?
I just got a notion something might happen in that room quicker if so many people weren't hanging around.
You mean...
I don't know. We ain't gonna move 2 feet from your sister's door if we have to stay here all night. Now come back here. What's that cracked light under the door? If it goes out or your sister yells, we throw ourselves into that room double quick. 1 o'clock.
What's your reason for all this?
There ain't no reason. I just kind of got. 2 o'clock.
Yeah, we've stood here like statues for a solid hour. My legs are cramped.
Rub 'em. Sister's asleep. Hear her breathing. She breathes nicely and is soft like.
Say, if you're expecting a ghost to walk, they don't come round till after midnight.
Ghosts don't leave human hair behind.
Oh, I think this waiting is all in the bunk. Nothing was in that room last night, and nothing could get in there now with us here in front of the only door. Mr. Ryan, the light just went out under the door.
Yes. Come on, let's go.
Look, by the bed.
Good God.
Something coming with hair.
Yes, long white hair.
Help! I can't breathe.
Quick, your gun.
Hold this flashlight on it.
It's a hairy monster.
You missed.
Shoot again.
I hit it, but it doesn't drop.
Oh, it's coming toward me.
Bullets don't seem to kill it. Something unnatural dead.
Shoot again.
My gun's empty. I'll grab it.
No, don't touch it. Don't let it touch you.
It's going through the wall.
There's a false panel, a secret passage there. Give me that flashlight. I'm going after
No, don't go in that darkness alone.
He's gone down those stairs, inside the wall.
Come on after him. It'll kill him.
Babs, come back. It'll kill us all.
Mr. Ryan. Mr. Ryan.
Babs, I'll go with you. Babs.
There's Mr. Ryan's flashlight up ahead. Come on.
That hairy thing has got away.
Where does this passage lead to?
I don't know. Look out. Here's more stairs going up.
Mr. Ryan, are you safe? It didn't hurt you?
No. I'm all right. The thing has disappeared.
What was it? It wasn't human, covered with that matted hair, and it smelled of mold and earth and death.
No.
Tried to smother me in my
Here,
sleep.
Miss Turner, pull yourself together. I don't know what it was we saw and followed. Here's where I lost it. Here at the end of this secret passage.
This is the end.
Where are we?
I've got a kind of notion we're in Mrs. Hawker's tomb.
Mr. Ryan, that frightful thing we saw last night couldn't have been Mrs. Hawker. She's been dead 5 years. And you say yourself it was not a ghost?
No. Ghosts don't leave hair behind. They're little things like this.
What's that?
Human fingernail, 5 inches long. I found it by the panel that leads into that passage. I've read that nails grow out about 1 inch each year. And like hair sometimes, they keep on growing after death.
You mean...
But last night we saw the dead who's still alive.
A vampire?
No, a vampire drains your blood. Mrs. Hawker came last night to steal your body. It's when she was placed in this tomb 5 years ago, she had everything arranged to steal your sister.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I've done some funny reading, as I told you, Miss Turner. In Tibet, where Mrs. Hawker used to live, there's magicians who know how to suspend all animation of their organs and to live like the dead for almost any time they want. They also know how to kill another human being by smothering its breath, and how to set up their own spirit inside the stolen flesh. Mrs. Hawker knew all about the magicians of Tibet.
If this incredible thing can be true, that explains those conditions in her will.
Yep, that her heir occupy that room with a secret passage leading to this mausoleum. She'd been cheated of your sister and had waited 5 years when you arrived. She was over anxious to claim your life that she might live again. So she entered that room without caution, and your aunt saw her awful figure in the moonlight. Last night she waited. Careful.
But the lights, what made them go out?
Master switch inside the passage. She built this house herself, you know. And among the queer conditions in her will was one that the slab above her tomb should be made so it might be lifted by a lever inside her coffin. Another stipulation was that she shouldn't be embalmed.
And those instructions were carried out.
Yeah, but why didn't your bullets kill her last night if she's really living? They say you're a champion pistol shot, and yet we couldn't find a drop of blood.
She hasn't any blood, son. Her body is just a dried-up husk held together by a evil spirit. That husk must be destroyed entirely, all at once. If That's why I'm having those lamps put up inside the mausoleum.
Those huge sun ray lamps?
Yes, the sun that preserves life is the destroyer of the dead. That's why she can only leave her tomb in darkness.
It's night now. There may be danger from her if you lift that flap. Why don't you wait until morning, until the natural sun comes
I
out?
can't have her in the same world with you another hour. You know, Miss Turner, you're the type of girl who...
Everything's set, Ryan.
You and your brother wait outside here, just in case anything goes wrong.
No, if there's any danger, I'm going with you.
Miss Turner, you're not engaged or going with anybody steady, are you?
We're ready, Ryan, if you are.
All right. Lamp set and lever placed?
Everything.
Now turn your lamps on before we put pressure on this lever.
There they go.
All right, boys. Heave the slab off.
Here it comes.
Now keep away from here, Miss Turner.
It's off.
You were right. In that coffin is a hairy monster.
She's alive. She's getting up.
Now turn those rays down there in the coffin. Those lamps went out. What's wrong?
Connection came apart. I'll fix it.
Quick!
She's rising from this
Good
tomb.
Lord. You keep back, Miss Turner. Keep away.
She's got her hands on Mr. Ryan.
Oh, with those long nails like knives.
Turn those lamps. God's sake,
Tear her
those
away.
lamps.
She's cutting him to pieces.
Keep away.
The lamps are on again.
And the rays are working. Look.
She's let him go. Oh, Mr.
She's fallen.
She's becoming just dust and bones and hair.
She's gone.
Destroyed forever. Are you all right?
I kinda got a notion.
Oh, you're bleeding. She slashed your face and throat. Rod, there'll be iodine, bandages. Thank goodness I'm a nurse.
Nurse? You know, Miss Turner, you're just the type of girl who... Say, are you engaged or going with anyone steady?
Be quiet. You're weak and losing blood.
But are you?
No, not yet. Why do you keep asking me that?
Oh, I've kind of got...
Well, that's the end of that then, Satan. And if it didn't curl your hair, it should at least make it kind of wavy. Well, Satan and me's got business to tend to now. Important business, Satan. Near midnight, Satan.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our little show tonight. I've always been a big fan of The Witch. Join us next week for Antiquities 8 Weeks of Halloween as we continue, and I'll be bringing you more old-time horror classics. Find us on Facebook, go to iTunes, and give us some stars, whatever that means. Again, I thank you, kiddos. It's been my pleasure, as always, to be your faithful companion on our journey. You have a wonderful time, and I will find you again around this time next week. Ciao.